Welcome back to all our listeners. It is time for another installment of Fit Nation's Lunch and Learn. Today, we're going to be delivering a masterclass in brand image, media coverage, and PR. To help us deliver this, we have quite the dynamic duo joining us. Honestly, if you read their career histories and skill sets, you'd be amazed that I'm talking to only two people. So I'm anticipating some great value from our listeners today. Those two people I mentioned would be none other than Kristen Crowley and Jill Bunny, the co-founders of reFRAME. So they're on a mission to really help you reap the rewards of positive brand image. And today, what they're going to give us their insights on are things like what a brand image consists of for fitness professionals, why brand image is so important and what you need to focus on in 2022, targeting your MVPs, and finally, how to connect with the media in the right way so you can land free media features. Free is always nice. So whether you're a solopreneur, business leader, pretty much anyone in between, you can take control of your own personal brand by taking some of these tips that we're going to focus on today. So I think there's going to be value for everyone that's listening in. Without further ado, Kristen, Jill, thank you for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having us.
I know, we're so excited. Thank you.
Awesome. I don't know who wants to go first. We can do some back and forth. It's always good to get our listeners a little acquainted with who you are. So maybe both of you can tell us a little bit about your background and what you do.
All right, Bunny, you're first in the alphabet. So you
I like that.
like in elementary school.
Right? Like, woohoo, first. I like that. Man, I've been in fitness literally, I would say my entire life. So a lot of people listening might resonate in some level. I'm 35 and kind of counting the years, it's been 20. So I started volunteering at a gym for literally a year and a half. I don't think anyone would do that now, but I would wash all the equipment. I would do anything that they would need. I got a free membership and I would follow the personal trainers around. I knew I wanted to be them because that's such a cool job. You get to be in a gym and work out and help people. So that led me into university and studied kinesiology and worked at a gym there. And then led into England for a few years and probably took every single course I could take, like spin and boxer blast, aqua aerobics. I did it all. And then that led me into more nutrition coaching and personal training, fitness competition prep coaching, and then segued more into cognitive behavioral therapy and bringing that for weight loss and more sustainable approach to losing weight. So I've kind of been around the ringer when it comes to health and fitness. I think it all happens if we're in there that long. It just starts to dynamically unfold. And then that kind of segue Kristen and I together doing brand image. So I've been in front of magazines. I've got 5 covers. So I've kind of been in the publication component of fitness for quite a while. And we realized that with her credentials and my own, that we were going to fill a niche in the fitness industry that was definitely not being served. And we knew that we could provide that.
Excellent.
Yeah. And Jill's being very modest in a lot of her accomplishments in that intro. So since I'm her hype girl in every way, in the fitness world, Jill has conquered many, many mountains that, a lot of people in that industry aspire to climb to. And was an inspiration to me personally. And that's how we met, was through her being on the cover of a magazine. I actually saw her and her story resonated with me. And then we connected and literally 2 months later formed a business together without even really knowing each other, living in 2 separate countries.
Wow.
One time at a Starbucks in person. And so she's being very modest. She has a really amazing career in general and was an inspiration to me on the fitness side. So hi, everybody. I'm Kristen. I am more in the media side. So I had a weird trajectory, grew up a farm girl on a horse farm, wanted to do design and fashion, went into the visual merchandising design world. That brought me to Virginia here in the States. And I ended up really just kind of seeing that industry start to shut down. And I was in the restaurant business as well. So I spent many years in food and beverage. Jill knows I'm the consummate bartender at everything we do. So I will make sure it's all about balance, people. It's all about balance.
Hey, you just got yourself an invite to the Fit Nation annual party then.
Yeah, perfect. I'm a good asset at parties. And we ended up, I kind of segued from that into television. So I was actually a bartender who had one of my clients who was a marketing and branding person tell me, you need to do TV. And I was like, you're full of it. I can't do television. I can't speak in front of people. I had a, severe fear of public speaking, and little's known to me, within 6 months, I was on air. I had a full-time job at a news station. I was still bartending. So I was the person who was behind the bar and behind the news desk simultaneously for many years. Through that journey in TV land, I learned a lot about, just what it takes to connect with media, but also how devastating certain jobs can be on your body and your health. And that led me to 2 very high-risk pregnancies, which kind of fueled my love of fitness again, because I grew up with 2 athletic parents who both played sports. I was very athletic. I knew fitness, but I didn't know it in the right and healthy way. And I learned that after my second child. So that's when I fell in love with the fitness industry. And I knew there had to be a way that I could give back. I got certified as a trainer, obviously for my own knowledge of helping other people. And when I decided to leave television news after 12 years on the same morning show, that's when I met Jill a year after that. And I was primarily going into that business to help women in fitness and wellness in particular be able to get media and PR, because it is very expensive. Mm-hmm. And that industry is very underserved when it comes to their value. So that was my mission. I never really took as much act on it. And then when we found each other, we're like, wow, there's a whole nother side of this with building a brand based on my knowledge in television and her knowledge in publications and both of our knowledge in the fitness world, that we just were like, this is it. Like, we have to help women. Yeah. So that's kind of our story together of where it went to.
Excellent. You could not play to each other's strengths, basically. Yeah.
It just was supposed to happen. It's like when you meet, like, love at first sight. It was like business at first sight. We just knew, we just didn't know what we were going to do.
The little heart eyes came out, and both had little heart eyes, and we were running in slow motion towards each other. It was a whole thing.
Incredible. And Kristen, were you bartending and then doing the morning spot? You said you were doing the morning show?
I did. I anchored a morning show where I had to be up at 2:45 in the morning. And I worked in the restaurant still through that for 5 years until I got pregnant again. And then I left the restaurant business at that time. But to talk about grueling schedules, I was one of those clients to my trainers. It was like
when
yawning.
Did you sleep?
I didn't.
You didn't? Okay.
12 years I didn't sleep. So now I'm trying.
Wow. Okay. So you guys meet, it is business at first sight, as you say. So, and what came from that is reFRAME. So maybe before we kick off, you guys can tell us a little bit about reFRAME and the mission that you guys have together.
You shoot away, Chris.
All right. reFRAME was founded to kind of fill a gap in the industry to help women in business in general kind of dominate their social media imaging. And we created photo shoot retreats for wellness and fitness professionals. So it is a place, because we're all busy, they don't have time to do these things, where we actually spend 2 days and you shoot your content for an entire year. So we shoot all of your holidays, launches, workouts, group workouts, smoothies, kitchen, everything is planned. Jill and I have a very organized system to do this. It is not easy, but it's very effective. And we get our women to another level. So we saw, again, the value in the wellness and fitness industry, that these people deserve to have a brand that spoke as a business and looked like a business. Because I hate hearing people say, I'm just a personal trainer, I'm just a this. Drives me crazy. And Jill and I were like, they are worth so much more. And if you see the value in yourself as a business, that's when your brand comes to life and you start to discover things about yourself and who your target people are. And we've seen such amazing transformations in just the 2 years we've been part of reFRAME, that next year it's just the need for it has grown so much. And I mean, Jill, we're moving into the Brand Image Academy stuff too. So we're trying to help everybody no matter where they live at, honestly.
And really just making them professional as they are. And me being in the fitness industry 20 years, it's very hard being a personal brand and trying to level up with like bodybuilding.com, for example, because they've got a lot of money to be able to throw at ads or to be able to create content. And we're one person, we can't be a beast like that. Like, let's just be honest. We don't have the time or resources, but it's not to say we can't have professional photos or work with people that can cut that cost down doing a retreat. And we knew we could provide something at quarter the price versus $20,000 to run a campaign. You just have to work as a team, and realized it can be done. And watching this past year has been incredible to see the success of the women that have come.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like a rocket ship. It sounds like something that'll be interesting to follow for sure.
Absolutely.
So yeah, guys, let's talk about brand image, like what that means for fitness professionals. Maybe you guys could give us a little bit of a rundown on your definition, your perspective of brand image, and yeah, why it's so important.
Well, there's like a huge part. It's like multi-dimensional, and Chris is such a great component with social media and the imaging, but it's, to make it simple, it's just how you're perceived in the marketplace. That's really what a brand image is.
Yep.
So what we want to do is look and say, how do we want to be perceived in the marketplace in connection to who we want to serve? So we can't serve the 7 billion people on earth. So it's saying, well, who is the client that we want to serve? Who is our most valuable payer? So when you said MVP, and what do they like? What don't they like? What are their struggles and frustrations? And then it's saying, okay, well, then how do we want to be perceived by that person so they purchase our products or services and can help them?
Awesome. And when we think about brand image, maybe you guys could give us some examples of who is doing it right, and maybe we can think of this like as an organization that maybe everybody knows just for familiarity's sake.
That's a good one. Okay.
Yeah,
I like that.
I know one that does it well. Us.
Well, we do it
reFRAME.
great. I mean, we're amazing. We're just so
There's
good
the
at
confidence.
Yeah.
I honestly, I always go back to Tone It Up.
Tone It Up,
So
yeah.
they were the ones that literally, they created their first nutrition book. Like, I mean, back in the day, before nutrition books were actually cool, and now they're not. But they just did everything right, and just their imaging, what they said, what they believed in. And you can see, like, if anybody's on here and wants to scroll back on their Instagram, you can see how they've changed, like their mothers now, but it was never an abrupt change and then they would lose their followers. They literally guided them on their journey of growth. I would say they've absolutely nailed it.
Yeah. We love seeing them because, again, you see what they were able to do, and they did it. What we try and tell people, they niched in really tight in the beginning, and they grew their products and their services over time. They didn't rush right out and offer 15 things because I just have to try and please everybody. And I'm going to offer services that are $2 and services that are $2,000 and confuse the hell out of anybody who's showing up on their page. They were so specific and so image driven. Their images were always bright, airy. They had a color story all the time. They were always on brand, and seeing them move into Target and getting these national chains and huge lines. And it was really, that's a beautiful story to watch. And I think a lot of people who, it may not be your cup of tea of the look of it or the aesthetic, but the way that they did it and the way they stuck to their core value, which is their mission statement, they've done an impeccable job.
So they executed the strategy just perfectly, you think?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And they stuck to it. They had a plan. They had a 5-year, 10-year plan with that.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll have to check it out as well. Tone It Up.
Tone It Up.
All right. And I'm not going to ask you guys to throw anybody under the bus of who does a terrible job. I mean, we could probably actually think of some, just look at who's in the news and handling a situation badly. But so I'm not going to make you guys go there and get yourselves in trouble. But what would you say as far as like maybe the things you shouldn't do, or you mentioned something like don't have things that will confuse your customers or your followers. Maybe you could give our listeners some pointers there of what you guys think.
Well, I like this one because this is one that Jill can really speak to more than I can, in a sense. I've had a change on social media in general, going from television into more of the fitness and wellness role, which was very difficult for me to do because I didn't have the right followers for that. So I personally took it upon myself to remove all of my followers who did not fit my demographic. I removed thousands of people just because I didn't want their comments throwing off people that I was trying to attract. So it is controlling it on both ends. I do see some fitness brands that prey on weakness and are very disingenuous with the things they're posting and not being authentic, like to the person who's looking at it. They're never going to relate to that story. So Jill could speak better on that because she had all of the, competition photos. And I know a lot of the fitness people listening, you have those beautiful shots when you're at no body fat and you think that's what's going to sell your product. So I'll let Jill take this part because she literally went through this in the past 2 years.
You're teed up.
Yeah. I lived through that. So I was a competitor. I know Kristen says I kind of downplay my winning. So I am a 5-time IFBB champion. So I won 2 Arnolds and Olympia and a few other ones. And that was for 5 years, my career. So I would take very provocative, sporty not wearing many clothes, wearing bikinis, and posting it on Instagram. And that's really how I built my following. Majority of it was men, but there were also women that wanted to transform and be competitors. So technically my marketing was on point. So I was attracting who I wanted to serve, which was people wanting to go on stage. But when I retired and wanted to do more lifestyle, I found like I was in this kind of pivotal point where I was still using those photos, but it wasn't attracting the right clients. And that's the issue, as in I'm working with 40 to 45-year-old women. They don't want to go on stage, or they do, but they're like, this isn't what I want to look like, or I can never look like that. And it's just losing that disconnect. And that's really not what I was after. So I was losing out on customers that really could utilize my services. And I was getting the wish-washy people that may have been that age, or they're like, yeah, this is like a quick result. So I wasn't actually getting the right client for my service. I was still getting people in, but they weren't getting the results. And that's where I realized that imaging is so important in the fitness industry. And if we're not serving people that aren't competitors, then wearing no clothes is really not going to be beneficial unless you have like an OnlyFans page. But again, like that just could be what you want to do.
Yeah.
So which again, no judgment. They make that money, girl. We don't care.
Yeah.
But
so I'd say that is the biggest thing of we have to get the imaging correct for that type of client.
Yeah.
And then I would say the only other thing that I noticed that when brands are technically maybe not on point is, you know, social media is part of our everyday life. And it's easy to get caught up in entertainment, funny things, or we make fun of people. I saw this one trainer actually took a video of some lady wearing beige pants. Maybe that's not the best thing to wear beige nude pants when you're out because you look naked. Sure, it was funny. But as a trainer, would you want to post that because it is funny, but then you're making fun of another woman? Right. So I see this all the time where we just kind of want to make a laugh, but then we have to think again, this is our brand and image. And could this be a potential client that we're now making fun of? So I always say err on the side of caution, not just on politics, but with entertainment where people could be offended. That's something to really take into account.
Yeah. So that quick chuckle could actually have way deeper repercussions for yourself, your brand, everything that maybe you don't even realize at that point in time.
100, you're just losing out on potential customers for sure.
Yeah. Okay. And I think we'll talk about why brand image is so important a lot here. But you guys also, you know, you're focused on what people should be focusing on for their brand image for 2022. So maybe we could talk about like the importance of brand image, and then some key focal points for people as a new year is quickly coming up upon us. So yeah, whoever wants to take that one, go for it. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot to focus on, I think, for 2022. There's a big shift, obviously, as we're moving into the end of this year and into next year. So there's a lot more things that people are conscious of on social media, and you have to be putting that into your brand strategically. So whether that be diversity and inclusion, you have to work that into your marketing and your brand. There's no longer the days, and I know there are some sports companies out there who literally stick with one demographic and will not use any other type of model. I think those days are behind us in the sense that if you're not a brand who's growing and evolving with that, you're going to be missing out on a large target part of the audience, because Jill and I try and steer people away from vanity metrics all the time. We're all vain. We all have an ego, whether you want to say you do or not. We all do. Like, we want to look good. We want to feel good. We want recognition. And for a lot of people, they want to, you know, get that right away. They don't want to look at the long term of it. So it is really hard to say, I need to focus on this one thing for next year. So our biggest things for next year is really focusing on the MVP. That's one of our biggest things that we teach in our Brand Image Academy part is MVP. And we don't mean most valuable player, it's most valuable payer, because we don't want people who play, we want people who pay. So that's the whole motto around it. It's a little bit more niched in than your ideal client avatar that a lot of people talk about. So it's a thing where we really want you to go and discover that person. And we're very cognitive based. So Jill's in cognitive behavioral therapy. We like to bring everything back to the brain science and the human emotion reaction behind why we do things. And branding is emotionally driven. If you don't have a brand that evokes emotion and spurs someone to do something, because people don't buy what they need, they buy what they want. So it's one of those things we try and really teach people, okay, let's focus in on that MVP. Let's niche down to these things. We have a bunch of key factors we go through, and they have to really know that person, and they have to take themselves out of the equation, because you're not your MVP. It could be, you know, Jill's clients mostly were like in their 50s, 60s.
Mhm.
She's in her early 30s. It can't be based on everything she likes because you're not going to convert. So
Mhm.
you really have to really learn next year to really get personal with people and to let go of the, I mean, it's the suck of social media. I mean, we all get drawn into it. And the more you can regiment that and turn it into a business
Mhm.
versus just getting sucked in, I think you are less likely to make the mistakes Jill spoke about, making fun of people or being inappropriate in a way that really does offend a target audience that you're trying to reach. And if you don't know your target audience yet, you have to take time to learn that. So that's patience too. So I think 22 it's going to be a big year.
It's a lot of research with that, again, to kind of elaborate on that. Your MVP, there's like, it's not just this is what they do, right? It's like, what do they read? Do they drink Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts? Like all of these things matter when it comes to how we deliver your service or them even getting into your pipeline to potentially work with you. And that includes not even just launches, but let's say Valentine's Day, Thanksgiving. It's like those words and how we connect to that matter too, because there's a ton of holidays and different events that we can target to them. But how do they feel about that holiday? How do they want to be targeted too? And that's the whole name of the game, is we have to continuously put stuff out there in content, but it has to be in a way that suits them and not like Black Friday. What are you going to do for that? So it's just like, what does my client do on Black Friday? Do they like to purchase or do they like things ahead of time? So literally it's like, open up your calendar and look at all the events and be like, how do they like that? Is it a big family event for Thanksgiving? Is it not? Like, this is the cool part of it, is it's just not personality. You have to look at every month of the year and how you're going to tailor your content.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's other big factors. You have to start getting into video.
Oh yeah.
We've talked about that. The people who are still refusing, we have a reel we made about it, which we're going to put out, which is hysterical because it's literally like you're dragging people into doing it. Like, come on, just get on the camera. You can do it. And there's creative ways to get on video without your face and without talking. So it's really, you have to invest time, I think, into really learning what the market's calling for next year and what you need to do to get seen, because it's social media is very hard to get seen nowadays. And we all know your engagement rates between that 2% and 4% typically. So you got to make that count. I mean, those people who see you, it better be damn good. So it takes time and research to make that happen.
Okay. And I guess this is something I don't think hardly any podcast, webinar, any sort of conversation has without these days. And it would be related to the pandemic. Now, let's hope, in 2022, it's becoming less of an issue. Who knows? I won't bet on that. But what would you guys say are some like do's and don'ts about related to brand image as it concerns the pandemic, right?
That's an amazing question. And I think Kristen and I too, because we're part of two different countries.
Yeah.
Right. So during the pandemic, Chris was open majority of the time. I was stuck in a pandemic, like in my house for 9 months at a time, like literally went to the gym 2 months out of a year and a half. So it was really difficult. We ran a photo shoot retreat. I actually was in my house. I couldn't leave the country. She ran it. I was on like an iPad and I watched her, where maybe masks aren't there. Masks are mandatory here. Yeah. So it took me a while first because I didn't want to offend anyone. So that was the hardest part, as in, where is your key demographic? And that's where we had to play it safe, as in I had to kind of step back because there are people here that are still in like lockdown and there's people in America fully open. So I understood from a content perspective, like we're very depressed, they don't want to see us like living our high life in America. So we literally tailored a lot of things back based on where our like customers were and biggest purchasers. So I think that's important. If they're somewhere where everything's open and that's where you're getting all your income, okay, then you can follow those kind of guidelines. But we had to play it safer on the Canadian side because we had purchasers. And now that things are open and we had a retreat, we just still made things look, respectable. I think that's important, that, you don't go into one way or the other, vaccinators, anti-vaxxers. We just keep an even keel and provide the information, what we do for our business, and try to not get on all that pandemic stuff where that's taking away from what we actually deliver.
Yeah. If it's a hot topic and it's not a part of your content pillars, like the things you set up to talk about in your business, it's best to be neutral. Like you need to be neutral and really even disclaimers in there. Like if it is a live event, make sure you're putting the locator when you're posting on social media where you're at.
Yeah.
Make sure, because then people will understand, okay, your country is open, my country is not, but I see everyone there has, okay, this is where it's located. So make sure, like, take the extra time to geolocate or hashtag of the cities you're in or where you're at. And that I think people are more understanding of that too. And next year, obviously maintaining online. We still know people who haven't shifted to online or virtual services through the whole pandemic. They just decided not to work or to try and stay, maybe see a person every week or two. But you do have to set yourself up for that. So again, investing in learning at least a little bit so you're not caught off guard again. I think that's the biggest thing that you can do to at least be prepared.
Gotcha. Okay, thanks for that. And shifting then a little bit to say something that's immediately takeable for like an immediate takeaway for our listeners today. Now, both of your guys' dual missions, one is to help female business owners show up in front of the camera with confidence. The other one is help women in wellness find their inner superhero when it comes to social media and video. So the themes are very much in line there. Perhaps you guys could give like a tip that's immediately actionable today for any listener we have that would be beneficial in terms of their brand image.
Well, I'd say for one, I start deleting old photos. Honestly, you can do that right now, is scroll down through Instagram, through Facebook, and look and say, okay, are these a representation of my brand, or have I grown? It's okay to delete old photos. I literally went through and deleted almost all my bikini photos, all my body transformation photos, as in that's not what I wanted to depict online. And it helped a long ways. And especially with Facebook ads too, with compliancy issues, they're changing the game with that. So when it comes to brand image, even if you're putting an ad on Facebook and it's part of your business page, and let's say you have a ton of photos of bikinis and before and after and weight loss, they will shut your account down. So even from a 4-year-old post, if you have a ton and they catch that, they will shut your ad account down. So if we're kind of in that stage of business where people want to grow and put money behind some ads, just be careful and really look at the Facebook ad compliancy. But the best way is to look and see if there's provocative stuff or that's not part of your image now, just start deleting.
I think that is a super easy one. But you're right. Anybody can do literally right now. Hopefully they don't stop paying attention to this conversation and get too carried away with that. But that is exactly it. If it's not in line with your brand image today or where you want it to be in the next 6 to 12 months, that's an easy way to avoid any confusion. Wow.
It is. Yeah. Just go through, just make sure that you can also archive those photos. If you don't want to get rid of them on Instagram, you can go to the button instead of delete, archive them. And then you have them there for your own. Maybe you're going to use them as a blog post later in life. You did a lot of work on it. You don't have to delete them, guys. So if you don't want to get delete happy and see them go away forever, just archive them and they'll be there for you, but just not everybody else. But it really does help clarify. So a quick brand audit of seeing that you're consistent across all channels and doing that are two things I think everybody could do within the next day and actually see results from.
Wow. Okay. And shifting back to the MVPs, now a lot of people, I think myself included, probably thought it was most valuable player, but it's most valuable payer. We just dropped the L. So once you have these MVPs targeted, what kind of engagement methods do you guys recommend? Like, what do you guys leverage once they've been targeted by you guys to really make sure that you can capitalize on that?
It's a process. It's a process. It's not going to happen overnight because you're getting to literally know this person intimately. Keywords about what speaks to them, where they spend the most time online. Because some people we have clients, they get all of their business from Facebook, absolute crickets on Instagram. So why are you spending so much time on Instagram? So you have to really take that hard look at where you need to show up as well. So we don't waste our time trying to find these MVPs, because more than not, if you have 10 from one page, you're going to get 10 more versus only getting one from somewhere else. So go where the money is. If you want to get paid, which is what we know you guys want to get paid, you want to make money, you have to go where the money is. And it may not speak to you directly. You may love Instagram as your favorite platform, but your clients may all be on LinkedIn because they're more professional. So we really try and get people to focus on that part as the next step of really just narrowing things down. Messaging, Jill, it really depends what your niche is, what you're trying to do.
Yeah. So messaging it's obviously looking at, maybe what words are they using in their posts or what kind of connects to them? Or even if you have previous clients, you could ask them, it's like, are there any words that really just like create like ickiness in your stomach, and you write them down. You're like, of course, I'm not going to use them. And then I would say the biggest benefit is, where are you sending them after? Because obviously if they're going to pay you, they're not going to pay you on Facebook or Instagram. You got to take them offline. So it's really understanding a pipeline or a system that you have in place. So it's not like, buy this book, or now it's this gym workout, and now it's this. It's like, what the heck are you selling me? You sold me this last week, and now you're doing this. Confusion. So Chris and I just say, keeping it simple, of like building a webinar, doing something where you're just sending everybody to this one place to watch something, whatever it might be. It could be a download, but it's literally that one thing. You do it great. It is an exceptional product or service, free offer, that you literally just stick to that, and you update it as you need to until it's a 7-figure pipeline, and then go on to something else. But I see scatterbrain, shiny object syndrome in the fitness industry. I've been there, I've been a culprit, but we haven't given it the time when we don't just focus on one thing. So if anyone's listening, just look at your services, and it's like, go have an audit and say, how many things have you tried to sell in the last month, and are they all the same thing or not? If not, take a step back and say, one thing in 2022, are you going to sell them into one drive until it makes 7 figures? Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
That's it, pretty much.
Yeah. Awesome. And both of you guys have really extensive backgrounds, dealing with the media. And so one of our main talking points today too was how to connect with the media in the right way in order to land free media features. So the free part is the best part here, right? Yeah.
And it's the
Everybody's
funniest
favorite
way. I love it when you tell everybody what the best tip is. I die laughing because it's the truth. It works.
Okay,
I'm
save
excited.
that tip. That's going to be the last tip.
Oh,
That's the last tip.
build it up.
Everybody has to wait for that one, because it's the one that will absolutely guarantee you a return on a show at any time.
Yeah.
So the media operates differently, obviously, in every country. So, some, up in Canada, they report differently than we do here in the States. So, they have different needs and different ways or formats of doing the show. So number one, everyone out there is eligible and should receive free media. If you have something of value and you're not doing it as a self-serving individual, you deserve to be in a magazine, on television. If you have a story, we all have a story. It's just finding the right way to pitch it, tell it. Otherwise, it's boring. So it has to be something that people actually want to gain knowledge from or will help them. So again, same way as online, taking yourself out of the equation, how you can serve the general public that's watching said media. So the best part is to connect. So the first step, you really want to do your research, get on television, go online, find your local stations, find people that you connect with on those, and engage on social media. So everyone in newsland or television land in general lives on Twitter first. That's where they go every morning. That's their first stop. So if you don't have a Twitter account, it does benefit you to have one just for that research purpose. You don't have to post on there, but you do have to have a legitimate account. So going on there, connecting with them on there. So the hierarchy of social media for people in television is Twitter is where they go for breaking news, things that are happening right away. You want to be on there retweeting, commenting, helping them out. Facebook, that's where they go to share their long form stories. So that's where they share 3-minute segments, 5-minute segments on Facebook. Facebook typically requires news media to post every 1 to 2 hours throughout the day to get good traction. So they're on there all damn day. Trust me, you're going to find them. That's where you go and share their stories that relate to what you're doing and help them get seen more. The third, Instagram, that's where their personal lives are. So anyone who's in television media, even magazines, their personal lives are on Instagram. That's where you go and find them and engage in an authentic way, which means finding a common denominator. So if I like a reporter that's on a morning show that I want to get my workouts featured on, okay, I'm looking through her feed, I'm doing my research, I'm going back. She loves dogs. She's from Michigan. She wore this really cute dress today. I don't know how many people on Instagram I've connected with over leggings. If I love their, I've made more friends over commenting on their leggings at the gym than anything else. So trust me, this works. But you go through, find those people and start engaging authentically. Like, oh my gosh, your dog is so cute. I have a dog. How did you adopt him? Is he, find the charities they support. I support lots of charities. So if someone messages me personally and says, I saw what you did with the animal rescue, how can I help? I'm going to talk to that person. I don't care if they're Joe Schmo and have 1 follower or if they have 1 million followers, because they genuinely said something that piqued my interest as a reporter. So that's where you develop a personal thing. You let those relationships simmer. Like we always say, it's a first date. You're not like running up and shoving your tongue down their throat as soon as you meet them. You would never do that in real life. Stop doing it on social media. Well, I mean, you could, but you're probably going to jail. So
Or it won't end well. No,
it won't end well. I mean, if you do that to me, I'm going to punch you in the face. So just like, that's pretty much what's going to happen. So don't do that. But get in there and start to know them. We like to create, with our clients, they create a Google spreadsheet to track all the people in media that they've contacted about potential stories. So the next step is really finding what you can talk about, what you're an expert at. And then you got to sex it up a little bit just with words. So, you could be, you're a personal trainer. I do workouts, but no, you could, help the holiday, the holidays are coming. You could pitch a story about workouts to rev up your metabolism before you shove all the turkey down your face. You could go for back to school, how to get your kids working out outside. I have 5 things I can teach your viewers. So you really start to find those story ideas, and then you reach out to them and you literally say, hey, you know what? I love your show. I love what you do. And it's a virtual world now. You can do this to hundreds and hundreds of stations because we can do it on Zoom.
Yep.
So you have the opportunity to pitch hundreds of people. It takes time, and it's better to track it on that spreadsheet. But once you connect, the big part is maintaining and showing up the right way, right? So this is the part that everybody loves, because this is how you maintain a relationship with a news station.
It's easy too.
It's very easy. So there's a few things you need to do. One is be prepared. So you have to have all of your photos, your B-roll, your logos. B-roll, for guys who don't know, that's any video or photos you have that relate to what you're talking about. You need to have that all in a Dropbox. One link ready to go. Here's my headshot. Here's pictures you can use. Here's my information. Have it ready to go. The second, show up early. So if you ever get these opportunities, be there way early, have all your stuff with you, ask a ton of questions about, what do I need to wear? What time, where do I go? What do you guys need from me? If you can pre-write any information about your segment and send that in with all of your links, that gets you more bonus points. And the last but not least, which is Joel's personal favorite, please, for the love of God, bring food. That's it. The simplest. Like I cannot tell you the amount of people that I work with getting them media spots. And I tell them, show up with some, whatever in your local area is the favorite. Like here in the States, it's like Krispy Kreme or Chick-fil-A or
say hint, hint, breakfast burritos. Yes.
Like whatever food. I kid you not, people, if you show up with the food, you will have the happiest group of people on the planet. And if you do all the things I've said before, they will 100% ask you back to do something else. And the reason being, people in the news business, a big misconception is they make money and they have these fancy lives and whatever. Crappiest paying job I've ever had, worst hours I've ever had, no makeup and hair people, you buy your own clothes. Some of the reporters can't even afford to go to dinner because they can't even afford their apartment. So if you feed them, you are giving them actual life. Like you are feeding them.
And don't give them diet foods either. They're not signing up. They're not signing up for your diet program. So give them full food and make them happy.
Save the boxes of raisins and all the, don't bring so that is honestly the one tip that most people forget. And if you can't bring it with you, bring gift cards or bring, send something after, send a thank you. And I can guarantee you, news people love free shit. So that's the whole summary of this entire discussion that you guys will remember.
Well, I like free stuff too. So yes.
Yeah, everyone. Well, what is that saying? It's the way to someone's heart is through their stomach.
Yes.
I think it's something along that. There you go.
Yeah. Right. And when you break bread with someone, you're actually making a connection. So people remember those moments. They don't remember the 5 minutes of value with your PhD or your bachelor's in science that you delivered on the air. They could care less. They just want to get through the segment so they can get over with the show. So as long as you show up and you do your job and then you feed them, trust me, you're good to go. You'll save yourself thousands of dollars that way.
Amazing. And speaking of thousands of dollars, as a reference point, like what are some of the typical costs someone that, if they didn't go the free route, if they didn't do this and they wanted to pay for this media exposure, like what would they be looking to invest?
So typically on television ads, 30-second ads to 2-minute, in that time range can run on a local small network anywhere from $500 to thousands of dollars. So most segments that you get are several minutes. So you're looking at thousands of dollars of value there. If you hire an actual PR or marketing agency, typically a retainer for those type of agencies start around $1,500 a month. So and that's really for them just to do the email and the process for you. Now, granted, it does help to have people who have connections. That does get you in the door quicker, but that doesn't mean you can't build those connections on your own. It's going to take longer, but I can tell you, out of 12 years of booking morning guests for our show, I never once looked at their follower count. I never once looked if their profile was pretty and perfect. I never looked at those things. I looked at, do they know what the hell they're talking about? Are they going to show up on time? Are they going to make my job easier? And oh my God, they're feeding me.
And they brought food.
They brought food again. Oh, I love them. So it's honestly, we overcomplicate everything in life. Same with media. It's not that complicated. It's just a very, again, fitness industry is underserved in a way, like they feel like they get run into the ground. People who work in television as well. And if you're looking at magazines, I mean, you could pay for ads. You can pay $10,000 to $30,000 for an ad.
You can pay a lot. And even if you get featured, like I've had 5 covers, I didn't get paid for them. So most people think a cover model, you get paid absolutely $0. And unless you have, like we talked about, a simple pipeline or where you drive people, you cannot utilize that to the best of your abilities of being on a cover for a month. And if you don't have something that you can drive people from, you've lost any amount of income that you could have gotten from that. So if anyone's listening that gets a publication, make sure you have something that you can offer that magazine or whatever it is, that so you can grab your ideal client, where a webinar or something, just send them to that one thing. So you're not having to create all these new things every single time you get a publication or something. It's just one thing. And it's just out of sight, out of mind, you're sending them there. But if you don't have something, you've just lost out on a great opportunity.
Yeah, you're wasting your time. I mean, and you're not going to get a ton of people from television. People think that all the time. You're not going to get a lot of people, but you are going to get, we'll call it street cred. You're going to get, you're going to be solidified as a expert in your field by doing so.
And
so
use that
that's
to pay
why
dividends.
That's why we do television, magazines, again, and you should have something set up for all of them, even podcasts. If you're going onto a podcast, have something that you can send people to. And for the love of God, make it simple. Stop using 15 words in your web, your website, and having a ton of hyphens and periods and the number 4. And then, don't do that. Make it simple, because these people are listening while they're living their lives. They're not watching. They're just listening. So if you don't have something that they can recall quickly, they're not going to find you. So keep it simple.
Excellent. And so as we start to wrap up a little bit, we still have a few good questions that I got prepped for you guys. But I noticed on some of the content that you guys are posting, you're launching a brand image academy January 1st, 2022. Maybe you guys could tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it literally, we do our retreats so people can come to Tulum and Arizona, Toronto and Virginia. And what we realized is it's great to get that content, but what are we doing to prepare for it beforehand, whether you go to ours or you do your own photo shoot? And then afterwards, how are you converting? So we basically created a 3-step proprietary system that helps people identify who their MVP is, how they actually attract them through their photo shoots, and literally what type of photos they're going to have, what type of props they're going to use, how they're going to speak in front of the camera, and using intros and getting some serious help from Kristen. And then the conversion part, step 3, where you have the photos. So now we've got to design them, put them out online, and then see what's working and what's not, and continually readjust and launch. So that's a 1-year program where people do the work, they watch the videos, they get to do the worksheets. And then literally we have calls almost every day in the week where they can join in and literally get one-to-one coaching. So if there's 5 people on that call, each person might get 10 minutes where everyone else is muted, and they literally will pull up their worksheet and go through exactly what they need help on, instead of just doing Zoom calls where it's just group chats and really it's just passive listening. So it's all about taking action and taking action individually, so they're getting the results they need for their business.
Excellent. Well, I hope people, for those who are interested, we'll put some notes in our show links, of course. So if they do want to go learn more about that prior to it launching, they'll be able to see that. And we always like to do some roundup questions here. So put you guys a little bit on the spot.
Okay.
As a
Ooh.
so in terms of advice, what would you guys say is some of the best advice either one of you or both of you have received?
Oh.
Ooh. Okay, I'll do my mom's because this is the one I love to use.
Mom's can't. Yeah, mom's always a good one.
My mom's quite a worker bee. So the
Mhm.
one that I was taught very early, at a very young age, was she had a sign above our door that said, "You can't build your reputation on what you're going to do." So your reputation is built on what you've done and what you are
Ooh, I like
going,
that.
like what you're taking action on. So it was really stop dreaming about the future and actually do the work. And that's what I learned as a kid. And that has driven me through every career I've had to accelerate it to the next one. So I think if anybody, just do it. Stop waiting and just do it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a super
Mom's,
good one.
mom's
Yeah,
know
mom-
best, right?
Mom's got it going
know
on,
best.
you know?
Moms know. I would say just honestly, the best advice was listening to your heart and your gut. Like your intuition's there for a reason. And I would say second is don't be afraid to ask for help. I think that I made things a lot more difficult for myself for many years by thinking I'll just do it all myself. And literally the day I said, you know what, I'm going to invest in myself and pay a heck of a lot of money for an exceptional coach.
Yeah.
That was the help I needed because it actually started me to realize that other people can invest in my coaching. And until I was able to invest a significant amount, how the heck am I going to ask somebody else to invest that amount back? So I would say anybody listening, if you're afraid to invest money, you need to start doing that because that's likely why you're not getting the return back in your business.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Let's what kind of books would you recommend for our listeners or viewers?
I love books.
Jill, let's preface this. I'm the creative side of the business. So I'm mostly whatever's digital I'm looking at. And I like any book that actually is more on branding, like build your brand story, those kind of things. So I like those.
Anything. I when you want like
reads
crime,
everything.
like I read everything. Like I've got some like personality disorder when it comes to books. But I would say the best book for people on this podcast to listen to, whether you're a male or female, although it's for females, is Burnout. And it was The Secret to Unlocking the Stress Cycle by Emily Narzowski, I think. As women, we are givers, right? We have this helper giver syndrome. We constantly want to give, but we're not kind of putting ourselves a priority. And that book literally changed the way I thought about running a business and making sure that I take care of myself. So yeah, Burnout, it might change the way you think about yourself.
Okay.
So definitely I've read that a few times.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And then final one, do you guys have any mentors or people you look to for inspiration, whether that's in the fitness industry or out of it?
Oh, that's a good one. Oh my gosh. Mentors in. There's a lot of people I look up to in the fitness industry in general. Gosh, that's a good one. I still look up to I would say my mom as well, because I always look up to her in that regard, because she was a phenomenal athlete and built a business on her own with no support. So that's one of my big ones for a non-known figure.
Yeah. I would say for even just we could say Mel Robbins, Tony Robbins. And I think that they've got great stuff. I'm not saying they don't. I would say a couple mentors is the people in our program, like in our academy. Our photographers and videographers are absolutely outstanding. And I learn a lot from them. And Yuri, our health coach, like he's really kind of helped us segue forward. But I usually say it's the people that are under the wire and they don't say, hey, can I work with you? And then post about you and then shining bright, you're my great student. I don't like those types of people. So we usually have mentors that will never even mention that we work with them. And I think that's who I like to resonate to.
They don't have to be the one that everyone knows.
No, we've been very fortunate to be with a lot of great people. And again, they're people that are very specific to what they do. And when people come to us and they ask for advice on certain things, we know where to send them of who we've worked with based on their personality. But I hate blanketing that, because a lot of things, it's very specific to who you need. Same with a personal trainer. Like I never blanket and say this is the best of anybody, because I don't think everybody fits everyone. So I think there's very specific types of people that go with types of needs. So I like to field those on an individual basis of, if I say, okay, who would I need to work with? Then I'll go through my list of people in my head, my Rolodex. But yeah, I can't do that as a blanket statement.
All good, all good.
That's the most political answer I think I've ever given.
That was
So
very
maybe
political.
I should run next year. I should totally run for something. All right.
I'll vote for you.
Margaritas every Friday. That's one of my things.
That's a great
There we
rally
go.
call.
Yeah.
That's a great
like
rally
that.
call.
Mandatory napping. Those will be two things on my, yep.
I will be mailing in a ballot for you from the Netherlands.
Fabulous.
There we go.
Fabulous.
Right. Okay. Well, Jill, Kristen, it's been a really, really valuable conversation. I mean, we talked about things that literally people, as we said, could be doing while they're listening to this
did you
recording.
guys delete some photos already?
Yeah,
I
hope
you
so.
did.
Send us a message. How many?
Yeah. We had stuff that you can be doing deep into next year and then the years after that. We had advice from Kristen's mom coming in. So this is a super valuable listen, I think.
Yeah,
I love it.
Where can listeners go who want to learn more about you guys, the work you're doing? Where can they go to find you?
So we have our Instagram, reFRAME Your Biz. But honestly, if you're really interested in learning more about the Brand Image Academy, literally write brandimageacademy.com. And that is our one pipeline for everything that we do. So we just talked about keeping it simple. Literally, that's how we keep it simple. And you can just go to that, put your email in, and you will get everything that you need to know about us, or you can just stalk us away on Instagram.
Yeah. Individually, I guess our Instagrams, Kristen Crowley TV and Fit Bunny Jill. So we have our individual accounts as well, which are a little more personalized. And then we use reFRAME as our business account. So pretty easy to find. If you just Google reFRAME Your Biz, you're probably going to find us.
Super. Well, I hope people who are listening in today that they'll definitely come connect with you guys and you can help provide them with the tools that you guys are really, really specialized at and really good at. So thank you both, Kristen and Jill, for taking the time to join us today. It's been a really great conversation.
Thank you. That was super fun and can't wait to connect with everybody listening. So thank you.
Yeah, you're amazing. You had great questions. So I hope everybody found a lot of value and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Excellent. Thanks, guys. This has been another episode of Fit Nation Lunch and Learn. We will see you next time. Bam.
Boom.
How did that go, guys?
That was great.
Fabulous.
I liked it.
I love
when
your
there's actually
questions.
an element of banter back and forth. Sometimes people can be like,
they
get a little dry. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we're not dry.
No,
we're not. Yeah.
It
we're
would actually be shocking
saucy.
if you guys were.
Yeah.
So
You're like, wow, they really put on a front online, don't they?
Yeah. No, I really like this one. So again, really thank you guys for coming on. We'll definitely let you know when it gets published. I think it's next week or tomorrow. I don't know.
Okay,
I leave that to Lavinia and team.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll keep you up to date. And I think if she can't find any specific links or anything for the show notes, she'll reach out to you guys to
that's
perfect.
easy.
Yep.
And you're a fellow Dutchie, so I'm my dad's Dutch, so
perfect.
Yeah.
Excellent. Is he from the Netherlands?
He lived there till he was 12.
Oh,
so
wow, okay.
I actually that is one of my goals is to go.
Okay.
And my boyfriend, even though he's not my boyfriend, is Verstappen. So
okay.
Yeah.
Max.
She
Mr.
claims
Max.
people. She
Mr.
claims
Max,
people
okay.
all the time. I want to come too. I need to be, because are you in Amsterdam? Is that where you're at?
I'm currently in Amsterdam on the canals.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Our office is on the canals. The window's over there, so you can't actually see it, but
oh my
we are
gosh.
here. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
One of my best friends lived there for some time. So my credit to being in Amsterdam, I was there as a cardboard cutout of myself.
Perfect.
So she put me in the window, like red light district people, like she put me in the window and let me live there for all the years they were there. So there was a cardboard cutout of me holding a baby.
Oh, you look familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. I was there for a long time, but not there. So that's my claim to fame in Amsterdam.
Okay. Well, I'll reveal something to you guys. You might have picked up that my accent is quite American. I'm from Denver.
Okay.
So I do have Dutch roots. Yeah, I have Dutch roots.
Okay.
But yeah, I have a Dutch fiance now, and I met her 8 years ago, and so I moved out here for her. But yeah, it's people think I'm Dutch, right? Like people speak Dutch to me on the street, everything like that. And so for me, it's kind of like, yeah, I guess I'm Dutch now. That's the way it is. Yeah.
Well, we're gonna come see you.
Yeah, when you're out here, shoot me a message. We'll show you around the city. You can come by the office. We'll have a good time.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right.
Have a good rest of your day.
Day.
See ya.
Bye. Bye.